Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I hope you'll like and subscribe. It is free and it helps me out a lot. So today we are going to be talking about Enneagram type 5 and some things that I've noticed about 5s. I will be announcing the giveaway winner at the end of the video, so stay tuned for that. Make sure you check out my website linked in the description box below if you're interested in doing any coaching with me, and I would love to meet you and talk to you about it. Let's get into the video. First thing I have learned from being around type 5s, you guys are so intelligent and you are very knowledgeable. And I think that's the word, is knowledgeable. And the difference between knowledge and wisdom is knowing that tomato is a fruit and then knowing not to put it in a fruit salad. So you have more knowledge than you need. But sometimes applying that knowledge can be difficult. To all of my 5 friends out here, you have all of this knowledge that the rest of us don't even know how to find. But sometimes when you try to share it, it isn't received well. And I'm sure you've had experiences where you enter into a conversation and you give everything you can. You bury your soul, it feels like, because you share all of this information with people and you're helping them out, and it's not appreciated in the way you think it ought to be. Say your friends are talking about their fishing trip and one of them's talking about fish that they've caught before and the other one's going to talk about what fish they're going to catch, and you enter in the conversation thinking that you're being helpful and generous and giving all this information on, well, you know,
if you go to this lake and go fishing, you could catch all these different kind of fish, and you know how they actually found these kind of fish? They actually found out that these kind of fish secrete poison. It's toxic if you touch it, so don't touch this kind of fish because it will actually, they'll bite your finger off.
Your friends are like, okay, thanks. I just wanted to not go into work for a couple days, so I'm going on a fishing trip, but okay. And then you're walking away feeling like unappreciated and unwanted and kind of hurt because what you had to offer to the conversation and what you gave wasn't necessarily received well. And that kind of leads us into the next point, the second thing I've learned from being around type 5s. People will applaud all day long. They will applaud 2s and 7s for following their compulsion. When a 2 feels compelled to do and help and express their love for everyone, people will, oh yes, yes, thank you, yes, you're amazing. And when a 7 is putting on the show and being the social ease and making sure that no one feels under too much pressure because they'll take the spotlight, that way no one else has to feel uncomfortable, people are, yes, amazing. But when the 5 is following their compulsion to, I need to give this information, people are like, okay, thank you for dumping that on me, thanks, all right, here, you can have it back. And it's hard to know how to react to that because 2s are being very helpful and 7s are being very helpful, and you 5s, you can also be very helpful. And what you are trying to do, it's coming from a very good place. But I think very similarly to the 4, when the 4 is meeting someone and goes, tell me the deepest, darkest thing in your life ever, right now, do it, harness that energy, people go, okay, thanks, I don't know what to do, all right. And it's a little bit intense. And when a 5 comes to you and they're, here's all this information, here, let me unload this for you, here's my suitcase, I'm unpacking it, here you go, here's the spreadsheets, that can be overwhelming for the rest of the world who isn't as intellectually invested as you are. So if you can use that wing 6 a little bit more, I think that can be helpful to a lot of 5s. Using the wing 6 to tap into the social structure of what would the people that I'm around appreciate hearing? What would be beneficial to them instead of what would be beneficial to you, because you would appreciate that information. And if you were going on a fishing trip, you would like to know about fish. Makes sense. Other people, the dots don't necessarily connect that clearly. I know in saying this, I can already envision my brother, who is a 5 wing 4, saying that if you followed this piece of advice, you would be trying to be a sociopath or a psychopath because it's fake and bad and you might as well be mentally ill, but I'm going to say it anyways, and that advice would be, if you look at 3s, how are they adapting themselves to get ahead in life? Because 3s are adapting their image and their actions, and they're getting ahead in life. They're the ones that are writing the self-help books. They're the ones who are telling the rest of the United States how to be, and we're all kind of listening. And they work on charming people. And when they charm people, they get ahead in life. And that's how it works for everyone. Everyone likes to be charmed. Everyone likes it when you are nice and friendly and kind and put a little frosting on top. So the rest of us are being a little bit insincere. Not everyone always feels like going up, shaking hands, saying hi, how are you, asking about your day, and listening. We don't feel like that. But we do it because that's social norms. And whether I personally agree with it or not doesn't matter. For you to advance and get to use that intellect that you have so much of, you have to catch people's attention with a little bit of charm most of the time. Even like a professor that knows the most about the subject he's teaching, when he goes to interview for that job, if he isn't nice and friendly with the person who's interviewing him, he might not get the job. So use a little bit of this fake charm and this fakeness to your advantage. You have the 6, the 4, the 8, and the 7. You have resources. Use the traits that you can tap your foot into. Something that could be holding you back is not adapting to the world around you. That's coming from the perspective of a 9 who adapts to the world around them too much. But using charm, even when it feels insincere, start practicing it and see how it changes things in your life. One good thing about this is it's just a YouTube video and you don't have to listen to anything I say. But I would very strongly advise anyone who's watching this, okay, even though I don't feel like it, even though I don't want to, even though it doesn't seem like it's coming from a place of sincerity, I can still hold the door for the old lady and say hi and goodbye and ask someone how their day was, even when I don't feel like it. All of us can do that. Point number 3, you are simultaneously young at heart and old at heart. I know some 5s that have this mad scientist kind of professor look to them, and they have all this intellect, and I know some people say 5s are like robotic, and sometimes they can be, but they have this sort of very Albert Einstein-esque, Albert Einstein chic look to them of, I can't be bothered with these things in life. I have more important, more intellectual, more sound things to pay attention to in life. And they are above us in that way. You have this old soul kind of feel about you and this very intellectually driven attitude. But you're also young at heart in that you're gonna go to Comic-Con and watch the whole Star Wars series or Star Trek, my bad if I offended anyone out there. And then you're gonna kind of be into these quirky, geeky, nerdy things. And that's not the case for everyone. That's not the case for every 5. But what I've noticed is kind of what seems to be 2 very distinct boxes are checked by most 5s of, yes, I am the best research analyst. I'm the best at discovering new things. I'm basically a scientist. I have my PhD, but also I go to Comic-Con and I have a lightsaber in my bedroom. And you go, okay. Like Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory, who is a very extreme example of a 5, has all of this information, but also is going to kind of wear the same superhero shirt every day. And you, okay, all right. And those two things don't seem to go together at all, but both boxes are kind of ticked. And you go, okay, I guess those two things kind of do go together. I think 5s, you guys are just, you have this need for stimulation of the brain. And so you love these big ideas and these big thoughts and these big stories, especially the 5-4s. So the 5-4s like Tim Burton and Stephen King, you guys, you know, there's this big story and it's so complex. There's so many working parts, but it can also be thought of as kind of nerdy, even though it's super complex and super deep. You guys don't discriminate against a good series, even if it does have kind of a childish rep, I guess. So if it really does have value to it, if it really does have depth to it, you're interested in it. And I think that's really something that I hope is never lost from 5s, of, you know, you care about this certain thing that everyone else might not, and so you just go for it. I think that's awesome. Number 4. So this one I'm gonna go over quickly. I think that 5s get a lot of bad press. I think that people are overly harsh with 5s because they think that it doesn't bother them, even though, you know, we're all people, have feelings, we all have emotions, and 5s, your second function is feeling. First it's thinking, then feeling, then it's doing. And when you come into conversations and you dump all of this information when people might not be ready for it, they think, well, you're just very informational, it doesn't matter, I can tell you information right back, but they aren't very sensitive to you. So I don't want to be rude, I don't want to be hurtful, and I don't want to contribute to that. I just want to mention one thing is, if you are unhealthy in your 5-ness, if you are unhealthy and you're kind of stuck in that box and you kind of don't understand why people are always mean to you and why people are always hateful and hurtful and why people are going out of their way to get you. 8s control themselves more than any other type does because they have to. And I think 5s, you guys are more socially aware on purpose than anyone else, because if you're not doing it on purpose, it doesn't happen on accident. If you are kind of unhealthy and you don't have this developed, it can be hard to understand why people are so rude to you and why people are so mean to you. But some examples of unhealthy 5s would be like Ebenezer Scrooge from Christmas Carol, House MD from the show House. I reference that all the time because he's a lot more real life character than Ebenezer Scrooge. And Sherlock Holmes from the Sherlock TV series with Benedict Cumberbatch. He's like a 5-4. And lastly, most realistic character and least character-like of all these would be Dwight Schrute, who's like a 5-wing 6. While watching those characters, you can kind of see, I can understand why people might see flaws in them. I can see why people might have a problem with them or the things they do, but I think it's difficult sometimes when you're actually in your own position, looking through your own perspective, to see, why are people treating me so poorly? Sometimes when you do things, it might come across in a similar way that these characters would do things in. Other people, a lot of times, they fill up their social piggy bank by winning all these brownie points with people, and then they do something pretty awful, and everyone's, oh, well, just it's okay, it's just Johnny, you know, he's fine, it's okay, I don't know what's gotten into him, and they forgive him easily. But then someday you come around and you do something not even half as bad, and people are pushing you out of their lives, and it seems very over dramatic and you don't understand why. But when you don't fill up that social battery for other people, that social piggy bank, and have brownie points with people, they aren't as lenient, they aren't going to be as forgiving. Everyone at their worst is bad, no matter what. Every single type at their worst is just horrible to be around. But at your best, you are a blessing and you have powers that the rest of us can't get to and the rest of us can't use. So if you check and make sure every once in a while, oh, I'm not falling into these behaviors, then you are a godsend. You are doing something that the rest of us can't figure out. Why are the people in my life treating me this way? And I might get some comments of,
You think that I have people in my life? Ha ha ha.
I've gotten those before. But yes, everyone has or doesn't have people in their life for specific reasons. So if you do have people in your life, how are they treating you? If you don't have people in your life, how did it get that way? Number 5, you guys have such powerful interactions. Keep that in mind. You are very powerful people, even though you might feel sort of insecure in yourself. I think a lot of 5s feel insecure in themselves. You have very powerful interactions because remember, even though you're a withdrawn type, in health, you go to 8, an assertive type. In stress, you go to 7, an assertive type. So when you show up, people notice, okay? Keep that in mind. You have powerful interactions and people notice when you're there. Some people aren't ready for it. Some people can't handle it. That's okay. That's their problem to deal with. As long as you are trying your best to adapt to the people in your life and not pushing people away, if they still have a problem with you, that's their own issue to deal with. Number 6, whether you like it or not, the people in your life probably like you for your personality and for who you are more than the information you bring to the table. Let me say it again. The people in your life probably care about you more for who you are and your personality over the information you bring to the table. 5s and 2s, you both need to understand this. People love you and care about you. That's why they have you in their life. If we wanted a nanny, we would hire a nanny, okay, 2s? If we wanted a database, we would have a database, okay, 5s? So it is very kind of you to be generous with your information. It's very kind of you to be helpful in bringing your information, but keep in mind, that's not why the people in your life love you. They love you because they love you. It doesn't have to be earned with information. It doesn't have to be earned with what you're giving them. And if it does, then you need to check that relationship and see if it really needs to be there or not. There should always be a give and take, a reciprocation, but it shouldn't be conditional to the point that if you mess up and you forget something important, that people freak out and they leave you. That's not how love works, okay? So the people in your life love you for who you are and not for your information. Even though your information is part of who you are, they value you as a whole, not just this one thing that you value in yourself. Which leads me to point number 7. Tell the people in your life that you love them. I know you show it in your own way, probably, but 5s, the people in your life that you do love, just tell them, because they might not understand it. They might not see it the same way that you show it. So it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt you. It doesn't hurt them to just, bump them on the shoulder and, hey, I love you, bro. I mean, hey, mom, I love you. That's not painful. That's not going to hurt you. That's not going to hurt them. It could be embarrassing. Have you ever been embarrassed before? So, just tell them. You probably think they already know. They might already know, but it really doesn't hurt a lot for 5s. Number 8. Fours are very different and they pride themselves on being different and being the individualist, but I think collectively as a group, fives, you are the most different than the whole rest of the Enneagram. You have a completely different set of skills the rest of us have a hard time tapping into. Healthy sevens can look like fives. I know, like in my dad's videos, he can very much resemble a five, but you know, he gets out of that five space, he's back to being a seven again. But you fives, you carry this burden all the time of having this different outlook on life. And I'm not sure if you would even agree and say that it is a burden, but I don't know. I would think that it must be a little bit burdensome to always be checking. Why is my mom calling me and telling me to apologize this time? Why do I have to do this worthless, stupid project when it's not even going to be helpful at school anyways? I already know, I think having this different outlook on life, because you question things, you push the limits, you have powerful interactions. The world doesn't think like you do. You think more. That's one of the biggest things, is you just think more. And you have a hard time kind of doing stuff sometimes. So try to balance it a little bit. Balance, all right? If you can get into applying your information, just like fours can start applying their emotion, you're going to feel radically better. If you can actually do something with the information you're finding, get a job in research and analytics. Get a job that requires you to research and learn and teach. If you can teach, that is great, because you already soak in everything. If you can disperse it, that's amazing. Another thing is lawyers. I think when people think of lawyers, they might think of 3s and 8s. I think of 5s, the same as doctors. I think of 5s. Of course, I'd like my doctor to be loving and kind, but more than that, I like him to be precise and accurate. The same with a lawyer. I like a lawyer who's friendly, but more than that, I like him to be precise and accurate. Another thing, you could do different types of therapy or counseling where you walk through someone's problem with them and give them a more black and white view on, well, this is what really happened, this is how you should move forward. I think you guys are very great at that and seeing different sides of things. Apply your information, because you have information and ways of applying it that the rest of us haven't even thought of. Okay, and last point is 5 wing 6s. You guys blend in a lot more than 5 4s. So 5 6s, you guys are you're gonna have an easier time using information that you can apply. You're probably gonna go more for that like counseling job or a teaching job, or writing, research. That's probably what you're gonna go into more, and you're naturally going to be led that way a little bit more. Where 5 4s, you might struggle a little bit with like, I don't know, I'll probably work for NASA and research moon rocks. I don't know, it's either that or video game testing. I could do that. And so I think 5 4s, you kind of struggle with this huge ideas that the 4s, that 4 wing is very dreamy. Both of these withdrawn types that are kind of just dreamy, like Stephen King, Tim Burton, and you have this ability that the rest of us don't. And if you work on that wing 6 a little bit more, it might be easier and it might work to your benefit to apply the information. Don't work on changing who you are, okay? We love who you are. If you changed who you were, then you would be just like the rest of us, and who needs more of us? Am I right? So don't try to change your personality. Work through your quirks. Work through the little things that are getting in your way, okay? If you're sabotaging yourself, you don't want to sabotage yourself, okay? You guys care about so much, and you care about it so deeply. And you just need to find a good way of sharing that with people. Not everyone is going to care about things to the same degree you do. So understanding that it's not something they have against you or even your information. They just don't know how to receive it. It's just overwhelming sometimes. That's pretty much it for today's video. I'm going to announce the giveaway winner. I'm going to try to say your name the best I can. It's Gilad Porat. I will be messaging you in the next couple days. We'll get an appointment scheduled. A big thank you to everyone that participated, and I hope that I can still speak with you guys. Reading through your all stories was so heartwarming. I just had to pick a random winner with a number generator, and Gilad, I will see you soon. I look forward to seeing you, and to everyone else, I love to talk to every one of you. I hope you will like and you will subscribe. It is free and it helps me out. And I look forward to seeing you guys in another video. Have a good day, everyone. Bye.